On today's World Insight, focus on building powerful artificial intelligence models, the mission of computer scientist Yang Song. So how can cutting-edge AI models work for everyone? And the significance of dialogue among scientists, in the words of Shigefumi Mori, the former president of the International Mathematical Union.
Hello and welcome to World Insight with me, Tian Wei. From theories to applications, AI is developing really fast. Yang Song is both a witness and a player that have helped to make history. After working in OpenAI for years and together with his peers brought to the world some of the most amazing achievements, he is moving on to the academic world soon. I caught up with him on the sideline of a major scientist event in Beijing over the weekend and had a great conversation with him on AI for science, computation power, competition and cooperation in the field of artificial intelligence. Mr. Song, so good to see you in Beijing.
Yeah, nice to see you too.
I mean, when you look at the AI, it's both developing so fast in theories and also in applications. For someone like you, who are now still in the private sector, on the front line, shall we say, quote unquote, how much urgency do you have for innovation every day, and especially on the projects you're working on right now?
Yeah, so I feel to some extent AI research is very similar to physics research. In physics, we have experimental physicists and theorists. In AI, we also have both. But one difference maybe in AI is actually much easier to do experiments. With all the GPUs and coding, things can give us results very quickly. So I feel in the field of AI, theory and practice actually has an even tighter connection than maybe physicists do. So in our everyday life, we try to think of a new theory to explain our observations of experiments that we ran maybe a week ago, and then try to improve those experiments with our insights from theoretical models. So I feel we live with both theory and practice essentially every day.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, how are you going to use your time every day? There are so many things going on all at the same time, all the latest. How to digest this so that you can get nurtured on the things that you are doing and stay always on top?
I think the secret may be just talking to people. Like there are numerous papers published every day, but not all of them are worthy of your time to read. But if you are together with lots of colleagues and friends who share the same interest, then people will filter these papers for you, and important results will reach you much quicker through your connections, network. So I think that's the importance of having a great community.
What about peer competition?
Peer competition. I feel when people are mission aligned, we don't really care that much about peer competition. The only goal is to push the frontier of AI. If someone else makes some contributions, we just cheer for them and we get inspirations from their approaches. We can also make our own contributions. So it's very important to have a collaborative environment rather than competitive environment.
Yeah, has that changed since 2 years ago? I mean, we all remember the moment when OpenAI made some of the most outstanding both discoveries and approaches. How to, graduate from that stage and be able to go to the next stage of frontier? That's always a question, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think much has changed from 2 years ago.
Not here?
I feel the environment is still very good for innovations. In history, OpenAI has made lots of important innovations in the field of generative AI. I feel we still have that environment. We still have that collaborative working environment and culture. So yeah, I feel like that might be the secret recipe for the success of a lab like that.
You suggest that your goal in your latest introduction is to build powerful AI models that is capable of understanding, generating, as well as reasoning with high-dimensional data across diverse modalities. So how exactly is that going on? What is the immediate hope that you're having in mind right now while talking to me? And what are the most important bottlenecks to you?
Yeah, I will just talk about this from a very high level. I think right now, when we use those AI systems like ChatGPT and DeepSeek, they are already more powerful than human beings in many aspects. But still, there is one bottleneck, that is efficiency. Humans learn a new subject very quickly. They don't need that much of data. Instead, current AI systems really need tons of data and lots of compute. For most humans, they will never be able to have access to so much data and so much compute throughout their lifetime. So clearly, there is a gap between the efficiency of current AI systems and human learning capabilities. I feel that is the major bottleneck for the field of AI to solve, not just for private companies, but also for academia and for the entire field.
Last November, you and your colleagues put forward certain applications that is already, compared to earlier versions, reduced the computational power needed in order to operate. However, months pass, we know how months matters these days in terms of AI development, especially with DeepSeek and many other open source. Many stakeholders could also take advantage of the already existing technologies for their benefits and for the advancement of the field. So what exactly are you looking at when it comes to computational powers? How to reduce that? And also data, as you mentioned. How are these two fronts going separately, but also hand in hand?
Yeah, so I feel there are many ways to improve the power of AI. As you mentioned, compute power is very important. So one very simple approach is just we increase the size of the GPU fleet we have, try to buy more processors. But aside from that, of course, there are lots of innovations we can do to help reduce the requirement on compute. This can start from algorithmic improvements, like how we train the models. It can also start from architecture improvements, how we construct our models in an efficient way. This can be efficient in terms of compute, efficient in terms of data. Yeah, basically, it requires, I think, both the power to scale up compute and also the power to reduce the need on compute to achieve the next stage of AI developments.
Well, that's almost impossible for the very first thing, right? I mean, how many countries, institutions, individuals, and schools will be able to afford that? I remember some of the earlier pioneers of AI have strongly argued that academic world now is so much lagging behind because they are not like the private sector will be able to afford, the hardware, so to speak, in terms of computational power. So, but the question is, will that divide really help us, or actually preventing more brilliant minds from, contributing to the next level?
I think that's true. Academia and industry has a pretty big gap in terms of the compute available to them. But that doesn't mean academia doesn't have a way to contribute to the field. So start from the very beginning, academia just don't have much compute. And industry has more compute, but mostly that means we focus on different things in academia and industry. There are tons of research topics that can still be done in academia without access to lots of compute. So on top of mind, there are research like interpretability, AI safety. Lots of this research can be done with a few number of GPUs, and we can also use public APIs provided by these companies. And there are also lots of theoretical research that we can continue pushing. How do we improve the sample efficiency of existing machine learning algorithms? How to improve the efficiency of reinforcement learning? All those topics don't really require that much of a compute to make progress. I feel that's also an opportunity for academia to try to come up with new ways to reduce the requirement on compute. Sometimes when people don't have the pressure to reduce their compute usage, they actually also become less innovative. So I remain optimistic that academia, even though without access to tons of compute, can still make very reasonable progress in the field of AI.
DeepSeek could be one of those examples, isn't it?
Yeah, DeepSeek is it's an example on like how you may make some progress without too much capital investment.
You are graduating from the private sector to the academic world. So what is the thinking behind this, for many, quite an interesting change?
In the current world, people try to achieve their goals by changing their jobs very frequently. I feel we shouldn't limit ourselves to only one sector of that. We see tons of examples coming from academia and going into industry and vice versa. I think ultimately it depends on the goal, like what kind of research we want to work on and what environment is the best for this research to happen. I'm actually pretty happy to see that nowadays it's really flexible for people to move around. I've seen lots of colleagues who moved from either this way to the other way or vice versa. So I think we don't really need to assume this is a lifetime decision. We have to commit to it. I don't think that's the right way. The more important part is how we can make contributions, how we can make AI better, what is the environment we're seeking to achieve these goals.
Yeah, and you said it has a lot to do with the goal. So what exactly is your goal, if you could share with us about this graduation or this transition?
So as mentioned before, I think one of the major challenges in AI research is efficiency. How can we make them as efficient as human beings? So in academia, there are opportunities like you don't need to really worry about chasing low-hanging fruits. And we really have the environment to sit down a bit, chat with graduate students, and work on really crazy ideas that may not pan out immediately. So for some of these ideas, it might be better to pursue in academia, and also in some adjacent fields like AI for science, it's really better to work with colleagues who are true scientists in different disciplines. And academia also provides such an opportunity.
Having said that, though, how do you see the discussion these days about issues like open source or vice versa?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think open source models are very important to democratize AI research. It really allows people to have wide access to this technology. In the meanwhile, I also understand that not all models can be open sourced. There might be security, safety issues that concerns people. There might also be IP considerations. I think in the future, there will continue to be open source models and closed source models. They will become more and more powerful over time and maybe compete with each other a little bit. I view both of them essential to the field.
With open source, it seems that many of the global South country scientists that I talked to over the years, they're very excited. And so are some of the small and medium-sized companies around the world, because they see themselves can be a stakeholder to take the great advantage of the latest technologies. Now, what kind of opportunities do you think they could provide vis-a-vis, some of the best practices you also have right now with OpenAI, which is, for some of your models, is still closed sourced. So how do you see this change of DeepSeek mean for the rest of the world, including for OpenAI?
Yeah. As I said before, I feel like open source and closed source are not really contradictory to each other. They are more like complementary to each other.
What is the biggest advantage of closed source models today over open source and the other way around, do you think?
Yeah, so for open source models, the biggest advantage is, of course, like everyone can use them. That's probably not really true because even open source models, they have terms and a license come with them. So even though they are open source, that doesn't mean everyone can use them. But at least compared to closed source models, that's one big advantage. Other advantages include transparency. In lots of cases, open source doesn't mean they release all the secrets in training. Usually it's just a model come with weights, but that doesn't mean they will tell you what data the model was trained on and how much compute it was trained with. So open source typically means just you can use it and modify it. It doesn't reveal all the knowledge from it. But still, that's one big advantage. I think the disadvantage of open source models is that for open source models, usually because the company that released these models do not capture all the benefits of it, that means such models may also receive less investments.
Great to learn. And also, having said that, though, we understand that you are doing something about AI for science. We see both sides of the story. On the one hand, AI's development is contributing to the technological development and scientific development in so many different fields, and while the others also contribute to the inspirations of AI as to how it will be used. So what is the stage we are at now? Since AI is developing so fast, do you think there are sufficient knowledge of others to take advantage of the latest technology, and the other way around, in the AI world of the rest of the science, to provide tools that can be used and efficient?
Yeah, so AI for science as a field obviously doesn't have a long history, but it has already shown lots of promise. The Nobel Prize this year or last year was awarded to DeepMind for their AlphaFold work. This is a very good example of how AI can benefit science. AlphaFold, for example, uses diffusion models, which is one of the core AI techniques that we were working on during the past few years. And there are also other types of approach that can leverage AI techniques. I have colleagues in Caltech who were using diffusion models, for example, to help capture the pictures of black holes, and not only that, also capture videos of black holes. So those type of things can be said as impossible without latest AI techniques.
Yeah. Literacy of AI for the public is so crucial. And yet, we see lack of resources, lack of commitment, even though it has been talked about for a long time. So, Yang, if I borrow your advice, what is the best way? And as an engineer, how do you see the AI field could come up to help and support?
I think existing AI approaches are already good enough for education. People who want to learn more about AI or any other topic, they can just ask DeepSeek or ChatGPT and to have a very quick and helpful explanation on any topic they want to learn more. I think, the development of AI already makes this part much easier than what we might have thought. And of course, with more proper AI techniques, it's going to be even easier in the future.
Yang, it's such a pleasure to see you. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thanks a lot for your time as well.
Still to come in our interview series, Brilliant Minds, what is the significance of dialogue among scientists? Shigefumi Mori, former president of the International Mathematical Union, shared his answer with us. Welcome back. This is World Insight, and here is our interview series, Brilliant Minds. Science without borders is the ideal for many outstanding scientists. One of them is Shigefumi Mori, member of the Japan Academy and former president of the International Mathematical Union. He's a towering figure in mathematics, widely known for his groundbreaking contributions to algebraic geometry, which have reshaped the discipline and inspired generations of mathematicians. In recent years, he devotes much of his time to nurture the best among mathematicians. In an exclusive interview with me over the weekend on the sideline of the International Congress of Basic Science, he told me what it takes to find the charm of mathematics and how much does confidence and small success at early stage could lead to a lifelong devotion for mathematics. You said the skills of being a painter actually could also be similar to the skills of being a mathematician. Can you explain more as to how it works, particularly how they worked in your field?
My field in mathematics is algebraic geometry. So it's sort of geometry. So in some sense, I use pictures. So it's close to a painter. And in geometry, there are fields like differential geometry or algebraic geometry. In differential geometry, they have various techniques to measure how things are carved. But in algebraic geometry, we don't. We have only very rough notions to do this. As a geometer, if I want to study something, I sort of imagine that there is some unseeable object, algebraic variety, for instance. And on my canvas, as a researcher, I draw something. And that's something called invariant. That's the general picture of geometers. So I want to extract the essence of the algebraic variety and put it into the canvas as invariant. And since we have a very rough tools, our picture will be sort of abstract painting. But geometers, they have various tools, so they can draw a concrete painting.
Did you enjoy it?
If I look at things that way, I feel sort of more relaxed. And it's not just mathematics. For instance, in economics, they use various figures to capture the economy. Essentially, they're doing the same thing as we do. From the unseeable economy, they extract certain essence into maybe some digital figures, but it is their painting.
What led you to some of the most difficult paths, in mathematical research? We all know it is a very challenging job.
There are two things, I guess. One is that in high school days, there was a monthly magazine. There is a list of problems. And about 6 problems, humanity and science. And we solve it and send it to the publisher, and they grade it and send it back. And in about 2 months or so later, they put the ranking.
Now you are in the top 20.
Yeah, something like that. But you see, the point is not just ranking, but the comments they send us. The comment said that it's not, it's unlike you. It wasn't that good. But you see, the point is that they are sort of pushing me up.
Was it heartwarming when you read that, or was it nervous for you when you read that?
I was never nervous. I was really curious and want to solve the problem. Yeah, and for another occasion, I sent up an answer without thinking that it's that much good, but their comment was that this was great, and although it's not a full mark, I put you in the top.
Right. So an experience like that during the growing up age had tremendous impact on you.
That's right, yeah. There was another story. I was reading a book on mathematics, and there was some phrase, some number pi, or some number called e, some special number.
Yes.
The book said that it's some sort of transcendental number, some number. And I was very curious, and I wanted to see the proof. And I was in high school, and I went to the library and spent the whole day to look for the reference, high school mathematics. Still, it solved a couple of thousand years old problem.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the proof was really, really nice. It's really vivid.
What is vivid to a mathematician?
To prove that something, it's about it's saying that some equation cannot hold by putting any arbitrary coefficients, integer coefficients. Still, it cannot hold. And how to prove it? They say that they explain the idea. Multiply some number and divide this into two parts, integer parts and non-integer parts. And non-integer parts can be arranged to be really, really tiny, and the integer parts are not zero, but still very big, something like that. If that happens, integer, non-zero integer, and the tiny number added cannot be zero. And that I understand, but whether such an arrangement is possible, I couldn't believe it.
And it is possible.
Yeah, they somehow found a way to do it by using high school calculus. So even a high school student like me could understand it. That was fantastic.
So scientists, they need to believe in what they're doing. And also, especially when there's setbacks. Now, the world is changing very fast. And there are several concerns about basic science. For example, in some countries, government funding and societal support for basic science research has been sharply reduced. Meanwhile, there is also concern about whether geopolitics is going to divide the academic world.
Yeah.
As a scientist yourself, and as someone who tried to be a bridge, bringing all the mathematicians all over the world together, what do you make of this reality? What do you think is the solution?
Accusing someone doesn't work. And the only thing is to get more interaction with people who can sort of get together. I don't see anything else.
So, Professor, if there's something you can say to the younger generation of mathematicians, what would you say as a last word?
If you have got some problem in mathematics or even in others, don't get satisfied with an easy answer. And so even with partial answer, you sort of keep the problem in your sort of library. And sometimes later you get real answer.
And that's all the time we have for today. If you'd like to know more, search World Insight and check out our YouTube channel. Follow us on X and Facebook. I'm Tian Wei on behalf of my team. Thanks for being with us, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.